Let's talk about loot distribution, which is maybe the most important topic when it comes to World of Warcraft PvE raiding. I've been officer, GM, raid leader, and organizing tons of pucks and used most of the systems. So I want to show you and compare for you today. At the end, I would love if you guys would subscribe for my channel and give me a few comments about what do you think. If I'm wrong there, I will in the end also tell you which is my personal favorite. Still, everything is my opinion, so please give me some comments. What do you think yourself? Here's some general thoughts about loot. Loot is definitely needed for progression, but it is also a reward for the time a person invests. So you want to keep all of your raiders happy because then they are good and consistently coming. What is very important for a raid group, team, or whatever is that you define what do you want to be, more casual, more progressive. Having a raid with different mindsets, very progressive and casual, can end up in a huge discussion, especially about loot and how to distribute it properly. One thing that people often forget when I discuss with them about loot is like they're always like, the newcomer gonna get a piece that I want to have, and like I deserve it because I come so often. Yeah, the people that come more often also get more loot automatically. It can happen that one certain item is lost to a newcomer, which shouldn't be happening because rare beast items like legendary and good trinkets, whatever you think of, should be always given to your best and most consistent raiders. So you could run a main spec or raw spec. Let's say these items are going to loot console, especially going to give it to this person. Typical issues you're going to have to address too. No matter system you do, if you lack transparency and people don't trust people giving out loot, you have an issue. If you have a system with a big of amount of RNG, like main spec or raw spec, if any +1 or whatever, people may get frustrated because they don't get loot because they're unlucky. If you have a pack of veterans and a pack of newcomers, and like you have to think about both needs. You have to give the newcomers, but you can't neglect the veterans, right? Or the other way around. You cannot like exploit the newcomers. So find a system that works for both groups. One thing people always forget if they become upset, they stop coming, but they don't understand and see like if the system is fair and they just like got upset and they don't come and they cripple the raid overall, but not showing up because they value their own upgrade more than the one of the raid. The raid is not happening. This is less loot for everyone, and once they are not upset anymore and come back, you lost an idea, whatever. So what I usually did is when I've been officer jam whatever, I helped everyone who was interested in raiding. I helped them with weak hours. I helped them with gear in raids in dungeons and heroics or mythics, or I helped them with enchants or whatever. Because helping the other people is increasing my gain of items because the progression will be better. We kill more bosses in less time. Um, these are the general issues you will have to address to. One thing, how do you handle loot drama overall? Because loot drama will happen. The most important thing is the moral for it. Keep it up. People having high morale, wanting to come, having fun in raid, this is what you want to see. Then boss is gonna die, you're gonna have a tons of loot. I see often groups going into a raid and yeah, we'll handle loot, yeah, mine spec or raw spec, and then there's this one item dropping and everyone wanna have it, and actually you should give it to this person, but you can't because you always said main spec or raw spec and it will be wrongly distributed. I also saw once a video of Asmongold and he was saying like they had a system and it happened, everything was correct, and one person got an item. He was so pissed that he would love to stop raiding at this moment. So if happens one item is wrongly distributed, you could have a person quitting, maybe somebody else, and then all of a sudden you have a shit show going on. So what I do is I try to be honest, fair, and transparent, and this is also the best way to handle any way of situation. You should always listen to your raiders and make their voice count. A lot of people don't stand up and don't complain in the moment something happens. They just stop coming. So try to have a feeling for your raiders. Listen to them. Sometimes only in a talk between two people, and don't degrade them to be peasants that have to follow and obey. It can happen in a harsh situation in a raid, but then come back and talk with them. I understand totally, like you have to kill bosses and you don't have time to discuss any certain loot decision made in the loot council, whatever. But at least afterwards, you should have a talk, definitely. So these are the systems I want to compare: main spec, raw spec, Softres, GDKP, loot council, EPGP, DKP, and so on and so forth. I wanted to compare them according to different factors we would have, like RNG, attendance, performance, transparency, motivating veterans and new player, and the work they need to implement. And I gave them marks from 1 to 5. 1 is the best, 5 is the worst, and then I ranked them as a mean value of overall the ranks. You would need to wait in the single aspect, but just a general thought, I think it's fine. They are sorted according from least progressive and more suitable for casual guilds and pucks on the left side to most progressive on the right side. Main spec of raw spec is pure RNG. Whatever role you get, main spec of raw spec. It doesn't account attendance and performance. And if you think of two groups, veterans and new players may be bad and have no gear. Veterans already have everything, while new players get all the gear. The veterans struggle to get a piece. The system is 100% fair, and it's not a lot of workload because it's just roll. That's why it's very good for pucks. If you use it for guilds, you usually implement +1 system, so once you got an item, you will not get the second item till everyone else got one. That's how you reduce RNG. If you want to reduce the downsides of attendance, dedication, performance, and you implement a system where you give it out according to ranks. So you have trial phases, which are not considered as main spec for the first few weeks. You have maybe certain people getting an item of other people because they're raider over social or over alts. To reduce the issue of the veterans, you can introduce a kind of soft resistance. So you say veterans are allowed to soft or hard rest one item per raid, so they are motivated to come, while the new players get everything. So you can add additional rules to the system to dampen a few downsides. Softress is a very good system for pucks. It doesn't have a lot of RNG because you decide which item you want to go for and not somebody else and not the dices. Though if Softress works like one person can reserve 1, 2, 3, whatever items you want to, decided by the raid leader, and everyone who reserved an item, so you have a few people reserving one item, then they roll off the item. If there's only one person reserving it, then it's basically his. I have another video I will link in the description where I describe this. There is even a website which you can use to implement Softress. Softress does not account to attendance dedication, also not performance. It is kinda veterans can take away items from new players. That's why I give them rank 2 and 4. Could be differently. Workload is quite easy because you have the website that you can use or a sheet which you just set up once and then use it for every raid. But it's 100% transparent and this is good. Then we have GDKP, which is basically 0 RNG because people buy items. It doesn't care about attendance and performance. You still could put in a system like on Softres 2 where you favor rank systems like a core raid over another like social whatever. That's how you dampen this downsides. I would say GDKP is same as Softres. Old players have a lot of gold, new players not. That's why it's more motivating for veterans. There is a bit of workload. There's an add-on you could give a mark 1 or 2. I just used 2. Wouldn't make a difference in overall ranking. Then I differ in loot council between poor and qualified why. If you say, let's do loot council, but you have one person in the council who is deciding himself, so there's no control how he's distributing. You have no recordings of attendance, no clue of performance, only your feeling, and that's why I give them a free for this ones. It's mostly motivating for veterans because the loot council will give it to the better players, usually, which are veterans, and new players you don't know will get less. It's a bit of workload because you still have to think on the spot whom to give it. But the worst downside, which can even like destroy a guild, is that this system is not transparent. Deciding on the spot who gets an item according to what people choose main spec or spec. If somebody thinks you're giving the items to your friend, this is like the worst situation that can happen. You can watch a lot of other videos. Everyone is stating the same. It's like the best and the worst system to the console. If you do it wrong, it can be very bad and like destroying the moral of a raid group. Then we have two systems, EPGP and DKP. They work with points. Like DKP is like gold DKP, but DKP doesn't set gold, but points you earn over the time while killing bosses, going into raids. EPGP is counting also points you get for going into raids, but it gives also counts items gotten, and it just gives a ratio telling this is the next person getting the loot. While DKP, you have to set the points you have. The systems are actually transparent and fair. I just give them a mark 2 because I said if somebody is in charge of the system who may add some points here or there, it can flaw the system. Already heard of these cases. A bit of RNG because you still know who is getting it, but again, this is the same transparent and fairness thing I brought in. EPGP does not account the performance. The person who comes the most often gets the most points. You would have to implement something where you get additional points for performing well, let's say, and DKP the same. You come most often, you have a lot of points to get the gear. So the gear is not going to the person who needs it. It's going to the person with the most points. Hopefully, the person who comes most also is most performing. I saw different cases. I saw people being more casual but always in raid, while well-performing raiders having real life not coming every time, having less chance to get it. So, not such a fan of this because it's less progressive. Definitely, these systems motivate new players less than veterans because people with a lot of points get more out of it than people with less points. That's why we would implement a system where we have a decay of points over time. Every week you lose 1/4, 1/3 of your points, so new people can catch up. But still, like veterans are always like, as long as you come, you're getting the items. Workload, you have an add-on you have to administrate. This is a bit of workload. That's why I give them mark 2. From my point of view, what I've seen, tried out myself, and I'm gonna describe in another video I did a lot qualified loot counts. What does this mean? We have at least 3 people who know the game, know the classes, know who needs which item, so they can make a wise choice. They have to track attendance and dedication and the performance of people. Performance by having WoW logs or WoW cardio, attendance by writing down who came when and who missed why and who was benched. And this information should be publicly visible for the whole guild, raid, team, or whatever. So this is making it like a 1 mark. With this information you're having, you have 100% transparency. And what I'm adding there is predefined loot council. You're gonna define who is getting which item before raid, not on the spot. So you have a list where every piece of gear is written down and every person and the order in which they will get it. Yeah. This is reducing the issue of a poor loot council. Yeah. It's still motivating veterans more because you're going to favor them over new players, and it has some kind of workload. I did a spreadsheet for this, which is not much work. It's like ½ an hour per week to talk about who's getting which item next, to update the list, and you have to need some recordings of the items you have been distributing in raid and you people that came, which is not such a big thing. You just need a screenshot of your raid roster, and if you use RCLootcouncil, you can still see how you distribute the items. And the good thing about predefined loot council is when the item drops, you distribute it. You don't even let the people roll. You know the next person gets it, and they know it too. And if they don't like how you decided it to be, they can discuss before or after raid. But you could discuss before. And so this is absolutely reducing drama, and you can choose when to give it. And every week you're gonna sit down, talk about it, and maybe redefine who's getting it. Like next week, because maybe there have been some changes in the roster or the rankings. So this is basically it. Thanks for your attention. Again, please subscribe and give me a like or give me some comments. What do you think? Maybe I missed something. I missed totally for sure something, but you could write books about this topic. So see you next time.